Hi, my name is Claire, and I am a Crisis Intervention and Prevention Specialist with SAVE of Essex County.
And I'm Hannah. I'm the Sexual Violence Prevention and Outreach Educator at SAVE of Essex County.
Today we're going to be talking about consent.
So what is consent and how do you get it?
Consent should be taught to kids young. And no, it's not about explicitly teaching them about sex and what it is. It's about teaching our kids about boundaries, that they have ownership over their own bodies, and that the words yes and no mean exactly that. It's about teaching kids what parts are private, and that they have to ask permission before touching someone, just like they would ask permission before they go and touch someone else's toy if they want to share it.
It all sounds formal, but consent is really just about basic communication.
The bottom line, if you don't have consent, you're already in a tricky legal situation.
And sex without consent isn't sex. It's sexual assault. What is consent? Consent is an agreement between participants to engage in a sexual activity.
Consent needs to happen every time you're engaging in a sexual activity. Just because you gave consent once doesn't mean that you have consented to that act in the future. Even if you are married, sex is not your right. Marital rape is illegal in the United States.
Consent needs to be specific. For example, just because someone has consented to kissing, that does not mean that you can touch them without their permission, just like if someone has consented to oral sex, it does not mean they have consented to other forms of intercourse.
Consent can be withdrawn at any point. You can always change your mind for any reason.
Communication is essential. To get consent, you ask questions like, are you okay with? Would you like me to? Is this okay? Can I, or is it okay to?
Remember, only yes means yes.
Consent is not.
Silence. No.
Stop.
I'm not sure.
Not now.
I don't know.
Who is unable to give consent?
A victim who is unable to consent is someone
who is under the age of 13.
Someone is 13 or older and under the age of 16. They cannot consent to sexual activity with anyone over 4 years older than them.
And at any age, someone with diminished mental capacity, which can mean someone who is under the influence of drugs or alcohol, unconscious or sleeping, or someone who is unable to provide consent due to a lack of understanding of consent due to an intellectual, cognitive, mental disability, or psychological disorder, or someone who is developmentally disabled cannot give consent.
Someone can't consent if there is a weapon or the threat of a weapon. What is a weapon? A gun or a knife? You will obviously be afraid to say no if there is a weapon present in the room or the threat of a weapon.
And a person cannot give consent to sexual activity to someone who has the duty to care for them unless they are over the age of 18.
Examples of people who have the duty to care are teachers, coaches, a priest, a mentor, and others.
And finally, someone cannot consent if they are under 18 years old and having sex in exchange for anything of value, shelter, clothing, money, etc.
So remember, you don't owe anyone anything.
And you have agency of your own body before, during, and after an encounter.
And consent is sexy.
And consent is necessary.
If you need help, call our 24/7 free and confidential hotline, 877-733-2273.